Okay, chat, what I'm doing right now is we're going to watch this. I'm going to eat my food. I'm not going to pause. I'm not going to pause. I'm not going to pause. Okay, we're muting all alerts. I'm not pausing. All right, let's fucking go, boys. Apparently, this is the best one ever. This one's going to blow our minds, chat. The coldest case ever solved. Get your pog chance ready. I've been saving this for a day, and today's the day. Today's the day. All right, I'm not going to pause. Do you think I'm going to pause? I'm not going to pause.
When freeloading just isn't hitting the spot anymore, 9 out of 10 doctors recommend Patreon.
Okay.
Exclusive. Satisfying.
Okay.
While there are an array of qualities that may bring any crime or criminal into the public spotlight, there are very few things more prone to capture the public's imagination than a cold case. You might want to ascribe something noble to the attraction that many people seem to have with real-life murder mysteries. A yearning to see victims' lives honoured and perpetrators brought to justice, for instance. But a more realistic, if not somewhat cynical explanation is that people just really love to know how a story ends. And when they're deprived of that, it drives them crazy. Today's story was one without an ending for the longest time. So long that when it was finally resolved in 2012, it was labelled in the press as the oldest solved cold case in American history.
Oh, shit!
It starts on a snowy December evening in 1957
Holy fuck.
in the small town of Sycamore, Illinois, when a little girl named Maria Ridolph is let out to play with her friend Kathy Sigmund. The girls are playing on the street near Maria's house when around 6:30 p.m. they are approached by a young man wearing a colourful sweater. He was about average height, had blonde hair, a gap in his teeth, and went by the name Johnny. After introducing himself, Johnny asked if the girls liked dolls and piggyback rides. All of this is based off of Kathy Sigmund's account. She ran into her house to grab mittens while Johnny was giving Maria a piggyback ride. And that was the last time that anyone saw Maria Ridolph alive.
Fucking Johnny!
The abduction of Maria Ridolph devastated the town of Sycamore and gained national attention, to the point that even FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover was asking for personal daily updates on the 7-year-old's disappearance. But in spite of an intense search and investigative effort, it seemed as if Maria Ridolph and the nefarious young man who called himself Johnny had disappeared into thin air. Until about 5 months later, on April 26, 1958, when a couple that were hunting for mushrooms in a wooded area over 100 miles from Sycamore stumbled across a small, decomposed body, a body that would soon be confirmed as that of Maria Ridolph. The worst was now confirmed. And while losing a child in such a horrific manner could be said to be the worst thing a parent could possibly imagine going through, the one thing that could make such an ordeal...
Why did that happen? Wait, why did that happen? I don't know why. I don't know why that happened. Why did that... Did someone redeem that? You should turn that off if it's on still. I paused because you asked a question marking.
Even more tormenting still, is having to live with the knowledge that the monster responsible for taking your baby's life and innocence is still out there. That is a burden that the parents of Maria Ridolph would take to their graves, as the authorities of the time and in the decades that followed would fail to apprehend the man who had taken their daughter. But that wasn't for a lack of trying. As stated, the investigation was intense and bolstered further by nationwide intrigue. In the days following her abduction, the police and FBI investigated hundreds of potential suspects, all of whom were cleared. One door they knocked on during that period was the Tessier residence on 227 Centre Cross Street, only a few doors down from where Maria was taken. The person of interest in the Tessier family certainly seemed to fit the bill. 18-year-old John Tessier, known to friends as Johnny, stood at 5 foot 11 inches tall, had blonde hair, and even a gap in his front teeth. But supposedly, logistics did not allow him to be the culprit. According to John Tessier's sisters, when police questioned his mother Eileen, she assured them that John was home all night. Besides that, the boy had no sort of history that would seem to be in line with that of a child abductor, and he was well known in the neighborhood where the episode had taken place. FBI agents took John Tessier off their suspect list after he passed a lie detector on the matter on December 10th. The very next day, he left home to join the military. And that was the last time that John Tessier's name was ever really spoken in the same breath as Maria Rudolph's. That is until 36 years later, in 1994, when Eileen Tessier was lying on her deathbed. Eileen called out to her daughter and John Tessier's half-sister, Janet. According to Janet Tessier, Eileen confided in her the following words. "Those two little girls and the one that disappeared. John did it. John did it. And you have to tell someone."
What the fuck, dude?
And Janet did tell someone, yet it would still be a long time before the case was actually reopened. In the years that followed, Janet Tessier made numerous attempts to bring her mother's words to the attention of someone that might have the power to do something, but every time she was dismissed. This was in spite of the fact that she had more to offer than just the words of an elderly woman days from death's door. Though Janet was not old enough at the time of Maria's abduction to remember the event in her adult years, John's other two half-sisters, Jean and Catherine, were. They remembered hearing their mother tell the police that John was home all night, and the reason they remembered it so vividly was because they knew at the time it wasn't true. Truth be told, they had never been able to shake a suspicion that John was responsible, and their mother's dying words confirmed what had nagged at them for all those years. But when Janet contacted Sycamore police several times over a number of years by her account, the answer was always the same. John Tessier had been investigated and cleared at the time. The alleged words of a dying woman were not enough to bring charges, and the 36-year-old memories of her two daughters didn't do much to improve things. The Rudolph case remained as cold as could be. But finally, on September 11th of 2008, Janet Tessier sent an email to Illinois State Police, and for whatever reason, this time, something about what she was saying resonated with someone on the receiving end. That person was State Police Commander Tony Rapat.
Literally just ban the complainants. Like, fuck up. Like, literally ban the complainants. Literally just ban the complainants. Just fucking ban the complainants. It's the same five guys. Ban the complainants.
Like, he decided there was enough
Nobody
to his
cares.
story
Like, literally
to
fuck
put
off.
two-star investigators, Larry Cott and Brian.
I am late, okay, because I was setting a thing up the whole morning. It didn't work. It is what it is. Now, I have to do all the stuff that I would normally do in the morning, so I need a video. Okay, I've chosen this video. We've committed. Well, actually, I don't know if we've committed yet. Technically speaking, if it doesn't ramp, so...
And Henley on the case. And they uncovered quite a bit about John Tessier's past to suggest that this well could be a strong lead after all. First of all, he fit the bill of a child abductor much more clearly than when authorities first glanced at him when he was only 18 years old. His sister Jean alleged that he had molested her and other girls in the neighborhood when she was growing up. And Jean Tessier was not the only person investigators spoke to that could attest to John having sexual interest in young girls, including those in his own family. When they spoke to one of his ex-wives, Denise Trexler, she told them that she had discovered a naked photo of his 12-year-old daughter from another marriage taped to the bottom of a drawer in their house. The girl's name was Christine Marie Tessier. At the age of 34, she went missing before showing up dead about a month later, next to a drainage ditch on a local golf course. She was apparently last seen with her boyfriend, but no one has ever been...
How do they not link that? If someone, like, how do they not link that? Oh, a suspect involved with a fucking dead kid is also involved with a dead kid. How do they not be like, wait a minute, what?
Charged with her murder. Investigators also came across a woman named Pamela Long, who had a particularly striking story to tell, given the circumstances of Maria's disappearance. Pamela grew up in the same neighborhood, and when she was around Maria's age, an older boy offered her a piggyback ride, which she accepted. Pamela's father, who was nearby, saw what was going on and immediately deemed it to be completely inappropriate.
Giga Chad.
He ran over, pulled Pamela off of the boy's back, and strongly warned the teen not to approach his daughter again.
That's fucking
The boy
weird.
was known to the rest of the neighborhood to be strange, and the boy was John Tissier.
That's fucking
There was no
weird.
doubt about it. John Tissier had changed his name in the early 90s to Jack McCullough, taking his mother's maiden name and simply preferring Jack, and he now lived in Seattle, Washington. On June 29th of 2011, based on the discoveries we've just been over and more that we'll get into shortly, McCullough was brought in to Seattle Police Headquarters for questioning in relation to the disappearance of Maria Ridolph.
We've not been formally introduced. I'm Dave Zaleski.
Dave, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Brian?
Brian?
Brian Hamill.
Nice to meet you.
Brian, I'm an investigator, and Brian's with Illinois State Police. And
With who?
Illinois State Police.
Really?
Yeah. And what you probably remember a long time ago, back 50 years ago, a young girl was abducted.
I called that in. I called the FBI about that.
Okay. Back in
Clueless.
December 3rd,
Clueless, dude. Clueless. Look at this posture. Look at this fucking clue.
1957.
Maria.
Maria, exactly.
Yes.
And we've been going through and doing some new interviewing and new investigations regarding that.
Yeah, I'd be glad to help with that.
And you've been divorced 3 times?
You're investigating the child, right? You're not investigating me.
Right. This is a personal history form.
All right.
We fill this out for
everybody. All right.
Our command wants us. Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm I just do what I'm told.
Yeah.
You know.
You know why I said you weren't from here?
Why is that?
You got a tan.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a joke. What do you call somebody in Seattle with a tan? Stranger.
One interesting quality of Jack McCullough's
the
interrogation is that he will veer back and forth between completely cooperative and hostile or borderline hostile repeatedly. For what it's worth, he was brought into the room in cuffs, so he is likely not in two minds about whether or not he is under suspicion.
If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed to you free of cost before questioning if you wish. And you understand that.
That's all good advice. I'm on your side on this.
Okay.
I'm trying to help you.
Right. I mean, like I said,
We just
Yeah, right.
gotta follow the boss's rules. You know?
yeah.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Because if the forms ain't filled out.
Yeah.
Okay, when are you going to get to the good part now?
We are done with my
Okay.
part.
I had a dream, and then it reminded me of a conversation I had as a kid. There's a little grade school, and it's only a block away from my home in Sycamore, which is 226. Oh, you want to write that down? The address in Sycamore?
Okay.
227 Center Cross Street.
That's where he put the bodies.
I was talking to a kid, and he said, "You see that guy over there?" I was
What the fuck?
probably 17, 18, 17. Anyway, and he said, "Stay away from that kid. He wants to talk about sex."
What the?
Okay, so
This is so fucking weird, bro. Who? No one says like, "Oh, I had a dream about that," like this shit, and then what like?
this kid. Oh, now I'm gonna have to reach back and remember his name. I think
Wait, I drank
I
him
wrote
again, by
it
the
to the FBI. But it bothered me enough where I called up, and he lived with two boys named Davies. Don Davies is one of them, and I don't remember the other one. But he was a
Doesn't work. Disabled.
he was a kid they allowed to stay with them. He didn't have a home in Sycamore.
So he's like a foster kid kind of a thing.
And on the same block as Maria lived.
It can't be said
What?
for sure whether or not McCullough's story of tipping the FBI off to a boy who was said to like talking about sex and lived on the same block as Maria some 50-odd years after the fact when the memory miraculously came back to him in a dream is true, but no
That's obviously he's obviously trying to use some sort of misdirection, like red herring.
records from the FBI confirming this communication have ever come to light. The investigators continue to question McCullough about his family background and then bring him back to the day of December 3rd, 1957.
Now, I want to go back to and this to me is kind of a thing, it's kind of like, we all remember where we were when President Kennedy was shot or 9/11 happened. And this is kind of the 9/11 for Sycamore. I mean, anybody who we've talked to who's...
You're gonna like this, go ahead.
Yeah. So tell me kind of what you remember about that.
The day Maria was kidnapped, I was in the induction center in Chicago, joining the Air Force.
Okay, dude. We know
I
that's...
spent the entire day there, and they have a record of it minute by minute. I was really pissed. The FBI talked to me back then.
That's a lie, bro.
Suspect. And they even interrogated me. And it's because the suspect that they think took Maria had a green coat. And I had a favorite green jacket at the time. So, I'm sure they asked the neighbors, anybody with a green jacket? And yeah, Jack's got one.
So how did you wind up at the induction center?
I don't know how I got there. I may have taken the train, but I was there.
He's just fabricating shit.
And and you can check with the FBI because they gave me a lie detector test. And
oh my God.
I was disappointed in them, really, really disappointed, because I had an ironclad alibi of where I was. And they didn't even check. Didn't even make a phone call.
Bro, he went to the Air Force thing the day after. There was not an ironclad alibi. It was your mum just saying, bro, yeah, he was home.
I was really disappointed.
That was his ironclad alibi.
Well, let's go back and kind of walk me through, because they said let's go to the day before, because you were going downtown or something. Tell me as much as you can remember about, in as much detail as you can remember.
Oh, you mean about downtown Chicago?
Yeah. How did you get downtown?
See, I don't remember. I mean, we're talking about many years ago. I know no family member was with me, so I don't think anybody drove me there, so I must have taken the train. No.
Now, did you have to purchase your own ticket? Did they give you a ticket?
Don't know. Just don't remember it all. Is it important?
I appreciate the fact that we're talking about, over 50
No, you're looking at me
years
as a
later.
suspect now. I don't like this.
Well, I'm as I told you, there's been some discrepancies in, interviews that we're having, and that's why I'm trying to find out what happened on the day and where you were on the day she disappeared.
I already told you.
Well, but
I spent the entire day in Chicago that day.
McCullough's proposed alibi is that his activities around being enlisted into the military would have excluded him from being able to abduct Maria Ridolph in Sycamore at the time that she went missing. One part of his story is that on December 2nd, he travelled from the town of Rockford where the military induction center was located, to Chicago for a medical examination, and he had to stay overnight in Chicago for another examination in the morning on December 3rd, after which he did some sightseeing during the day. Note again that Maria was abducted in the early evening of December 3rd, sometime between 6:30 and 7 p.m.
When you got back in the evening, what did you do? This was a big day. I mean, this is a day that...
I probably crashed because it was a hard day.
So you think you were home asleep?
I'm assuming.
So why would people say you weren't there?
What people?
Your sisters?
They don't know.
Well, they say they do.
They don't know where I was back then.
Yeah, they do.
No.
When we start to look at the story that you tell here, okay, we've done a lot of interviews. There's things that just aren't right. Okay. First of all, you had the nickname Johnny, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So the person that was introduced themselves to the girls said he was Johnny. Okay. Who knows? Okay. The description of the person matches you down to the...
What a dumb fuck. If he was gonna, kidnap girl, why would he not introduce himself with, what a dumb fuck. What a dumb fuck. He introduced himself as Johnny. And then he fucking murdered her. Like, what?
The gap in the teeth.
Yeah, that's really was surprising.
Yeah, well, I'm sure, but that's what they height, the weight.
See, but that was my neighborhood. Everybody knew me. So if they had seen me on the street, Maria's parents knew me. I used to play with their daughters in the backyard.
See, and that's the description isn't coming from Maria. It's coming
she was
Kathy.
kidnapped.
Right. It's coming from Kathy, the other girl that was there. So she described somebody who looked remarkably like you and had the gap in the teeth, the same color hair.
See, I didn't hear anything about these descriptions. The only thing I heard was he had a green jacket.
Well, actually, it was a sweater that was the description.
All right, I don't have a green sweater. I had a jacket.
Well, and it wasn't a green sweater. It was a multicolored sweater.
See, it's not me.
Yeah, well, but your family says that you had a multicolored sweater that was just the same description, and that after Maria disappears, that sweater disappears.
Oh, this is bullshit.
You also told the FBI that you had some sex play with your sister.
What the fuck?
Oh my God.
This is bullshit. Oh my God, bro. This is bullshit. Bro, they got everything on you, you dumb fuck. They got your little gap teeth. They got your hair. You literally introduced yourself with your actual real name, you fucking idiot.
I took a lie detector test.
We're talking about what you said.
Yeah, right.
Did you have sex?
Lie detectors, they are admissible in court. They do nothing. They're irrelevant. People can cheat those. Okay, if you're a fucking giga psycho.
With your sister.
And they said, and he said, when was this? I said, when we were little.
Okay. Now your sister says that it wasn't just when you were little.
So?
Well, so what I'm pointing out here is...
Bro, he's a fucking sexual predator! He should be put in jail. He just agreed with them. He said, so? He just admitted to fucking molesting his sister when he was an adult.
That if you say you told them the FBI the truth,
Yeah.
and you were little, and yet at the same time you're having sex with your sister...
I am not having sex with my sisters.
The indignation McCullough suddenly displays at the suggestion he had sex with his stepsisters speaks to how warped his conception of the parameters of normal behavior seems to be. In this exchange, it appears as if McCullough is trying to qualify that he only engaged in some sort of limited sex play with his siblings, as opposed to full intercourse, and that it only happened when he was also very young, which given the age gap doesn't actually do much if anything to make the idea any less disturbing. Putting that aside, any remotely well-adjusted person understands that incestuous activity of any kind is extremely noxious and should be expected to express severe offence at the notion they've ever engaged in anything like it.
Or
I'm
he's
just telling you
admitting
what
to it.
not just one, but multiple sisters have said.
Right.
Okay. They also say, well, actually, Dave Frederick says that he saw your car driving in the late afternoon in Sycamore.
So?
A good rule of thumb to keep in mind with Jack McCullough is that whenever he says the word "so," it is almost certainly in response to a damning piece of information.
Because he's a dumb fuck.
The significance of McCullough's car being spotted driving through the neighborhood at a time he claims he couldn't have been there is self-explanatory, and it's highly doubtful he's as oblivious to this as he's letting on.
Your mother also says to Janet and Mary that you killed her, Maria.
This is a lie. This is a lie. My mother loved me to death.
I know she did.
And she was crying when the FBI wanted to talk to me.
I have no doubt.
What did his mother do to him, bro, to broke him so hard? Like, that's what I want to know, ultimately. What the fuck did she do to him to fuck it? Because most pedophiles were actually abused as a kid themselves.
Because she also told them some lies to the FBI.
My mother doesn't lie.
Well, she said you were home all night, and the girls sat right there and said, he couldn't be in. We looked, he wasn't home, the doors are all locked, nobody can get in without us opening the door, and your mother didn't tell the FBI the truth. Now, she may have been protecting you, but
Protecting me by saying I murdered a girl?
No, I don't even want.
I think that's what she was thinking that you did here, and I think
No, this is bullshit. It's all bullshit. My mother wouldn't say that.
your mother did say that.
She didn't.
The other problem is
bullshit, man.
you're given a ticket by the military to go
Sure.
downtown.
Sure.
We're judging you with murder. No, this is bullshit. This is bullshit.
Okay, so it doesn't make any sense not to take the ticket,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The problem is that the ticket didn't get used.
This is a key piece of discovery that helped investigators unravel McCullough's alibi. When combing through his past, they interviewed a woman named Jan Edwards, who McCullough was dating at the time of Maria Rodolph's disappearance. They asked Edwards to rifle through any and all mementos she had from the time, just in case something of use materialized. One thing she had in her possession was an old high school photo of John Tessier in a cardboard frame. Concealed within that frame was this train ticket. It is a one-way ticket from Rockford to Chicago, and what caught the attention of investigators is that it was not punched. The reason this is so significant is that if John Tessier did not need a train to travel from Rockford to Chicago, then he must have had access to a different mode of transportation, i.e. his car. And if he had his car on December 3rd, it would make it much more plausible for him to have been able to perform his military-related activities during the day, while still having plenty of time to make it to Sycamore within the window of Maria Rodolph's abduction.
How about the cops not
Yeah,
figured
and
that out? They have a car.
you know how the military is.
The fuck?
Here's your ticket to go to Rockford, or to go from Rockford to Chicago. You never used it. You know where this comes from? Jan Edwards. You know how women are sentimental, they keep everything?
Yeah.
She's got a pictures of you, and she said, yeah, John gave me this.
That's really funny.
I think it's not funny. I think it questions whether or not you were involved in this.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm not involved. You can give me a lie detector test, I'll pass it.
Okay, all right.
Give me a lie
Why don't we
detector
do
test.
that right now?
All right?
And that's exactly what they set to doing. Zaleski goes to get a polygraph set up, while McCullough bores Agent Henley with tips about the weird kid from the neighborhood who was purported to like talking about sex.
Oh,
He was weird.
shit.
And
How do you know that?
this kid told me, and I observed.
Okay. So
Every-
you don't know that firsthand
I
that
don't
he's
know.
weird? Like what's weird?
Okay. Not normal.
He's delusional.
Regular viewers of this channel will know that we don't take polygraphs seriously.
They use telegraphs as a tool to trick people and to manipulate them. And do you know what he's doing here? This country to have a fucking lawyer in here. Except because he's such a fucking narcissist, he thinks that he's smarter than anyone else, and he can just manipulate his way out of the situation. Because guess what? He actually has been manipulating his way out of these situations and literally getting away with murder his entire life. So that's why he believes this, right?
Around here. But just because the device is useless insofar as being a lie detector doesn't mean people's behavior when sitting next to it isn't sometimes interesting to observe.
It's a tool.
And Jack McCullough is a very good example of this.
This is the second polygraph I've taken on this. First one was by the FBI, and I passed it.
He looks like a pedo as well.
It was in
He looks like a pedo.
1957, I believe.
Okay.
And I'm going to pass this one as well, as long as you stay on the subject of the little girl and her murder.
Well,
What the fuck is that
quite
mean? What
frankly,
does that mean?
Jack, there's some
I know
questions
there's some questions you have to
need
ask
you.
for verification. I understand why.
Well, actually, I'm going to ask you some questions about the details of your personal life.
Then I'm
Some
going
of
to
them-
stop answering.
This is a point
What?
of contention that will colour the entirety of McCullough's polygraph exam. His stance is that he's happy to submit to a polygraph, but only on the condition that the only questions he's asked are those pertaining to the abduction of Maria Ridolph. So questions pertaining to anything else...
He looks like me? You say this guy looks like me. The guy looks like a fucking pedo, dude. He's got like a fucking pedo stash, pedo glasses, pedo face, pedo eyes, pedo ear. What do you mean? Oh, fuck up, dude.
like incestuous experimentation in childhood, for instance, are out of bounds. The problem with this from a polygrapher's perspective is that this is as good as not being willing to take a test at all, as the test is supposed to work by gauging your reactions to uncomfortable questions that are not related to what you're being investigated for, and comparing those to your reactions to questions that are.
Well, just hear me out, okay?
Right.
Really, we're not so much interested in that, but I need to ask you some detailed personal things about your life. Some of it can be pretty sensitive, but I need them in order to structure your question. It really is in your best benefit to answer them in order for this thing to work.
I understand you have to make a verification, and you have to set your machine up. I understand. But you've read me right, my rights.
Mhm.
And my rights are I don't have to say anything if I don't want to.
Right,
And so
But
if
it's
I
not gonna
don't
be-
answer you,
but it's not going to be pertaining to
That's not what an innocent person. Why would an innocent person be saying this? Like, call him out. Call him out. Like, really.
you're allegedly accused of. I'm going to ask you.
If you'd want to exonerate yourself, if you're an innocent person who genuinely believes in the polygraph, like you would want to see yourself free. Okay, that's what you would want. But actually, he's saying, no, I don't need to answer shit.
Some questions about your personal history and so on and so forth that might make you, that are a little bit sensitive.
then
I didn't pause.
we're done.
Well, why don't we just go ahead with the interview and see if you don't like them,
All right.
okay?
All right.
And what is this little girl's name?
Maria Ridolph.
Okay.
And she was a loved little girl. She was a little Mexican girl about this high.
With the last name, like, what did you say?
Ridolph.
Okay.
It was, I think the mother was Mexican, the father was
Oh, so she was biracial. And
Yeah.
they make the most beautiful kids.
Oh man, she was just an adorable little girl.
I bet
Great
she was.
big brown eyes, and everybody in the neighborhood loved her.
The polygraph
What the
technician,
fuck?
Irene Lau, would later say
What the
that whenever
fuck?
McCullough talked about Maria, he exhibited a degree of affection that seemed off, and this was a specific moment she cited. It's not abnormal to remark about a child being adorable, but when McCullough talks about Maria's big brown eyes, the body language he exhibits is reminiscent of someone going
It's-
into some kind of trance-like state.
Fucking creepy.
So basically,
Nobody does this. Literally nobody does this. Like, the casually nonchalantly type, be like, oh yeah, I didn't even have sex with my sisters. It was just, like, whatever. Nobody acts like this. Like, the fact that it's crazy that he's existed for so long without getting caught. Like, how, like, it's so obvious. But then again, this is hindsight, right?
you're telling me that you have absolutely no knowledge of this.
Absolutely.
You have no knowledge about Maria's abduction.
I have no knowledge of her abduction other than what I was told.
You did not stop and talk and play with Maria.
Oh no! She was a child.
Or Kathy.
No.
Well, so what?
No.
You know, and kids play with other kids.
Yeah. I was 17 years old. She was just talking.
How old were you when you lost your virginity?
Control question, not relevant to crime in question, but likely to elicit discomfort.
I was 20.
20? Wow.
Yep.
Who with?
With an older woman down in South Carolina after I joined the Air Force.
Have you ever had sex with a male?
I haven't had sex with a male.
Have you had sexual contact with a male?
What? Yeah. What was that?
We're done with that.
I take that as an
Okay, anyway you want. We're done.
with that particular question.
Yes.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Why? I mean, you're really sensitive about
What's it got to do with the little girl?
I'm trying to ask questions to help structure your test. It has no bearing on crimes, this, that, or the other thing. I'm trying to help you as best I can.
You're not helping me.
You ever been arrested before?
No.
You've been in trouble with the law before?
I had one problem with the law.
What happened?
Next question.
Oh, come on. You can tell me.
I'm glad you're my friend.
This little
You think
rat
I tell
face.
these guys?
Yes.
Why would I do that? There's no bearing on this case.
Very good, then move on.
Come on. I need to be able to structure your
You
test.
don't need to do this.
He's such a rat.
Next question.
Have you
Look
committed
at him. You
any-
think he's in control? He's such a narcissist. Like, he's like, I'm in control of the situation now. You can't. I tell you what to do, bitch. I'm the man. Look at me. Oh, shit.
crimes that you haven't been caught for?
God fool me.
Then you shouldn't have any problems with the other question, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Next question.
Fucking power dynamic. Oh,
So you
fuck.
don't want to answer that question, even though
Can't
it's
see
the
his face,
same
but
as
it's
the
It
easy.
other.
doesn't matter. I have a right to not answer questions. I'm not answering that question. We're trying to solve a murder.
That's right, we are.
Yes, we are.
This is not
I'm
how an
not
innocent person
asking
acts.
these questions for love. If you tell me yes or no and tell me truthfully, I won't go any farther than that. Can you answer it truthfully? Yes or no, you've never committed a crime that you haven't been caught before.
Correct.
Yes or no?
Yes or no what? What's the
Have
question?
you ever committed a crime that you haven't been caught for?
No. If I haven't committed a crime, I haven't been caught. I have never committed a crime I haven't been caught.
Yes or no?
I answered the question.
That's how I'm going to ask it. You cannot answer it like that. It's going to be yes or no.
I can't. What is a yes or no answer? Yes what? What does yes mean?
He's so dumb. Holy shit. He's just Dunning-Krugering his way through life, dude. That's why he's a narcissist. He's so fucking stupid, dude.
Yes means
So
I've
you're
committed-
saying yes, you have committed
No.
a
I
crime?
said, what does yes mean? I'm asking a question.
Hold on.
He flipped the script now. He's asking her
Because
questions.
McCullough makes it clear he will not engage with control questions, in addition to being reticent to providing straight yes or no answers that the polygraph requires, it's quite clear that whatever chart his exam yields will be even more useless than a standard polygraph test,
Fucking
if
hell.
such a thing is even possible. Regardless, Agent Lau eventually attempts to conduct an exam in earnest.
Is your correct name Jack McCullough?
It is.
Yes or no? Only, please.
Yes.
Okay. Do you intend to answer all of my questions truthfully?
Well, I intend to answer questions truthfully. Maybe not all.
I need a yes or no.
No.
Oh, what the hell?
So you are not going to answer all my questions truthfully.
Remember my rights again.
This is a really useful. It was a great polygraph test, dude. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we're trying to figure out if you're innocent, bro, to like just make sure you're good, like so you're innocent, dude. Like, right? Are you gonna answer all the questions truthfully? No. Just,
You
no.
ask a question I don't want to answer, you're not going to get an answer.
But just hear me out. Just listen to the questions first, okay, before you start objecting. Okay? Do you intend to answer all of my questions truthfully?
Okay?
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you born in Belfast?
Yes.
Are you hoping I will make a mistake on this test?
No.
What is 3 plus 3 minus 2?
What?
4.
Okay, don't say just give me one word response, okay? Have you taken any drugs, alcohol? Let me finish reading the question. Okay?
All right.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication you haven't told me about?
No.
Are you planning to try to manipulate this test?
No.
Have you researched any information about polygraph before coming here today?
No.
Okay. Now, this set of test questions I'm only going to ask you once, okay? But I won't go by nearly
Whatever
as
Elijah can
fast
hear
as
it.
I just read it. Because
Like,
after every question, I'm going to wait for a certain amount of time to elapse to chart your reactions. Regarding whether or not you killed Maria on December 3rd, 1957, do you intend to answer truthfully each question about that?
Absolutely.
Yes or
Yes.
no? Okay. Did you kill Maria?
No.
Let me finish reading the question.
All right, so.
Did you kill Maria on December 3rd, 1957? And when I say kill Maria, that includes everything that went into this thing.
I love Maria. I would not kill her.
The abduction.
What the fuck? That's just some random girl that you've seen like on the street like one time. Okay, dude. Like, and you're telling me fucking, and you're gonna say you love her? This is so creepy. He's acting so fucking creepy.
The sexual assault. The taking her away from that area, discarding her body.
Go ahead. I'm good for it.
That's what it covers.
Yeah.
Okay? You understand that?
Finally.
Okay. So I'll ask you again, did you kill Maria on December 3rd, 1957?
No.
With all the things that it entails?
Correct.
Abducting her, dumping her body, sexually
Wait, say it
assaulting her,
fast.
killing her?
No.
Okay. On December 3rd, 1957, did you kill Maria?
No.
During the first 30 years of your life, do you remember ever having sexual contact with your sisters? And that means fondling, kissing, rubbing, penetration of any kind, whether it's digital or with your
I'm
penis.
not going to answer that question.
Why not?
It's none of your business. It has nothing to do with Maria.
It literally does, bro. If you're fucking pedo with your sisters, you probably fucking giga pedo, dude. Yeah, pretty sure that pedo, like, yeah, pretty sure it does have something to do with it. You're clearly admitting to it. You're clearly admitting to it, bro.
It doesn't.
It does.
Sorry.
Without the ability to gauge McCullough's reaction to control questions, his responses to the relevant questions will not be analyzable, and so the polygraph is aborted, and Jack McCullough is taken back to the interrogation room.
Holy shit.
So that didn't go too good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
Are you going to arrest me?
Quite honestly, I haven't made a decision yet because I've got some issues with this that I can't resolve
Okay.
without you.
Fuck him up, dude.
Okay.
And
Call him out.
so, what I wanted to do was, have you again kind of think through because again, I appreciate the fact that we're talking a long time ago, okay? And, if we can come up with, alternatives.
Okay, you haven't got shit or the FBI would have arrested me. I'm done talking to you.
Well, that makes my evening short then, doesn't it?
Yep.
Okay. Well,
Fuck
is
yeah,
he free to go?
No.
Okay.
Did you say no?
I said no.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, dude, let's watch it again. Let's go back. You're a dumb fuck. You're not in control of it, bitch.
No.
Okay. So,
Wait.
that makes my evening short then, doesn't it?
Yep.
Okay. Well, is he free to go?
No.
Okay. So,
Did you say no?
I said no.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, shit, dude.
Did you do any research on me after you found out who I was?
I don't know who you are.
You know who I am.
I know you're Mike Szynski.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I know.
No, I'm a cold case detective, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Detective Mike Szynski spends some
Oh,
time
shit.
questioning McCullough, who again insists that he will not discuss anything that is not directly related to Maria Ridolf's abduction, and also continues to push the weird sex talk kid lead.
You got to realize, you know, you're kind of like in a world of shit right now, okay? And you're gonna have to give up the truth, okay? To save your own ass, to be smart, okay? So just listen to me, that's all I'm asking, all right?
Oh shit.
There's certain things that happen here that I know happened, you know happened here. Once again, I'm not saying, from reviewing this file, I'm not saying here that you killed that girl. Okay?
I did not.
I'm not saying you did, okay?
That's what I'm investigating for, right?
Get your foot on the door technique, bro.
Investigated for.
All right.
Okay. I really think that one of the problems with what happened here is I believe, from reading all the reports that I did, from the interview with that other little girl who was there.
What do you call this technique where they slide their foot in the door? You get him to admit to like some slide thing, like maybe he was there. Like what do you call this? The stalling technique?
What other girl?
There was 2 girls there.
I don't know anything about a second girl.
Okay, yeah, well, there were 2 girls out there.
Here we
There
go.
were 2 girls out there, and they were playing out there when I believe that you came up there.
What?
Now listen to me, then you can ask me the questions. And once again, I'm not saying that you killed anybody, you understand me?
Oh, man.
Okay. So, anyway, yeah, there was another girl there also. And that you probably, maybe I'll refresh your memory.
Too?
No, she wasn't.
How old is she?
She was the same age. They were best friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah, best friends.
Okay.
And she's still alive today. And actually, I think you met the 2 detectives that were here. Actually, another
Yeah,
detective. They interviewed her.
Yeah.
Okay. And once again, I'm saying this is where I believe that you're hiding something.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why I think you're hiding something.
I'm going to tell you you're wrong right now.
Okay, well,
He's gonna just admit that he was. He's gonna get him to admit that he was there.
What I believe kind of happened here is I believe that you did go up there, and
Did not.
that's fine. Just let me. Then you can answer some questions. So these 2 girls were out there, and they knew that the guy, and they knew as Johnny. And Johnny said that he was very nice to the girl. He knew Maria, and he offered them a piggyback ride. And I believe that what happened is that that person was you. And
Oh, my God.
and they did give you a piggyback ride, but that girl didn't say you killed her. You understand that?
McCullough again argues he has a rock-solid alibi, and Szynski continues to probe
nobody
the
cares about the alibi.
specifics that can be offered, as well as trying to get McCullough to engage in further discussion of his relationship with his family.
Your mom, who's deceased now.
Yeah.
Okay. You're real tight with her.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Like you were from once
I
again.
called my mom every month of my life. I loved my mom to death. And my mom was brilliant. When she died, my dad was asked, how many people do you think are going to come to the funeral? And Dad says, oh, maybe 30 to 40. 350 people showed up.
Did you show up?
Jesus.
No, I was in the service.
They wouldn't let you get home from military leave for your mom's funeral? Were you in Vietnam then?
I don't remember where I was.
Because Eileen
What the
Tissier passed in
fuck?
1994, it's safe to say that McCullough was not stationed in Vietnam. His sisters have been clear that
What
they
the
explicitly told him he was not welcome at the funeral.
Now,
Oh shit, dude. Yeah, cause you're fucking creepy molesting Andy, dude. What the fuck? Jesus.
I told you there was 2 little girls there. One girl got killed, and the other little girl. She said the person who came there, who said his name was Johnny, who lived nearby, and gave him a piggyback ride. They said he was very nice, and they said he was one of these guys here, and her name's, and she signed her name on the bottom of that photograph. Can you picture anybody out here that you know in this photograph?
I don't know any of these guys. And I don't think any of these guys are from Sycamore.
The photo third from the left is the man that Kathy Sigmund positively identified as Johnny. It is John Tessier. Jack McCullough has just claimed to not be able to recognize a photo of himself.
Just look at every picture and turn it over to definitely start with one and just look at it.
What a clown, dude. Does he really think this is gonna work? He's that much of a narcissist? He's like, oh yeah, if I don't say it's me, then they won't know. I'm gonna just lie to him, bro. Well, yeah, that's right. He doesn't know it's me. I've got it all figured out, boys. Oh, shit.
No. 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 These guys aren't from Sycamore.
Everything else the guy looks like.
He obviously knows, dude. Stop fucking acting, clown. Holy shit. Stop.
I don't know.
You know what that guy looks like?
He might look like me, but he's too feminine looking.
That's you from a wedding picture. Obviously that's Xerox.
Hmm?
It's a Xerox picture. That was you. It's a little whited out right there. That's you from a wedding picture that was put into this montage that the girl said was Johnny that gave the girl the piggyback ride. Once again, she didn't say you killed him, but that's what they're saying. Number 2, listen to this part. Number 2.
Oh,
Okay?
shit. Oh, shit.
Jack, look at me. Number 2.
Oh, what the
Okay.
fuck?
You know why this other case got the other information we received? This is all documented, this other information that we received. Know who said that, know who told us that you did this? Someone who I think is from all the information I read, is a very smart person, a very intelligent person, and someone who had lived with a bunch of guilt for a long time before she passed away.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you're gonna say my mom? That's bullshit.
Well, why do you say it's bullshit?
Because she wouldn't suspect me of murder, and she knew where I was.
I'm telling exactly. I'll show you the documentation that said that you did. She said that you're the one who did this, and that she said she was ashamed of it.
Why would her mom protect him? I don't get it. And like especially considering his sisters clearly told her. Like, I don't understand that.
And getting back to this is what that other little girl who said. This is her signature right down here. Once again, this is Xerox. I said, now Jack.
That's so cooked.
Once again, I still think you're covering for somebody. I think somebody did something there. I think you were there when not when the girl got killed, but I think you were there when the girl got the piggyback ride. I'm not saying you took the girl and killed. I'm saying you were there, and then you walked off, or somebody else came up there, and you remembered this, and you're trying to hide this or cover for somebody. And I don't know who you're trying to cover for. If it's one of these other
I'm not
guys,
covering
I don't
for
know
anybody, and I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, here we go.
Whatever else you might want to say about Jack McCullough, he is not a stupid man, and he never comes close to embracing the alternative question Detective Szynski attempts to put in front of him, of being responsible for Maria Ridolph's piggyback ride, but not her abduction and murder. Over the course of the next half hour, Detective Szynski continues to confront McCullough.
That's what I was talking about, by the way.
Positive identification, his history of sex abuse allegations, his unused train ticket, and his mother's deathbed confession. But this mounting pile of circumstantial evidence will not prove to be enough for him to relent and offer a confession.
Yeah, because that's only what they do. Then when they do because he's calling it the alternative question, JCS calls it like that's phase 2 or whatever the fuck, where you just get them to admit like some partial truth, and then once they do that, it's like they chip away at them, and then they fucking just keep going and going and going to the point where they confess.
It was, however, plenty for the judge that ultimately presided over his trial.
Oh shit!
On September 14th, 2012,
oh shit!
55 years after Maria's life was taken, Jack McCullough was convicted of the crime. He was handed a life sentence without the possibility of parole for 20 years, at which point he would be 93 years old. It must have been somewhat of a bittersweet moment for the living members of Maria's family and the Tessier sisters as they stood on the courthouse steps after McCullough's fate was decided. On one hand, the man who had tormented their minds for so long was finally being held accountable. But on the other, nothing could take back the evil things he had done.
That's the worst part about all this shit, eh?
That he had gotten away with it for so long.
Can't be undone.
All the same, even though his being brought to justice was long overdue, Jack McCullough's case does have a silver lining to it. A message to any victim who ever feels like giving up hope, or monster who thinks they've well and truly run out the clock. Justice doesn't have an expiry date.
Get fucked.
Even if it feels like 1 million people have turned their back on you, that doesn't mean the next one will. Whenever you make that next phone call, or send off that next email, you never know who will be on the other end of it. It may just be that one person who will finally set things right.
What I don't understand is why doesn't he get death penalty? Why doesn't he?
There's just one problem. Jack McCullough was totally innocent.
No.
Now bear in mind, people are...
No. Wait, he's a molester. He's a molester. Wait, what the fuck? Wait, what? You have to put him away for molesting his fucking sisters. Because he clearly admitted to that. He clearly admitted to that. Wait, plot twist? What the fuck, dude? But wait, he has to get got for molesting his fucking sisters, bro. Holy shit.
are seldom found innocent, as opposed to not guilty. Usually, acquittals come down to a judge or jury determining there is an insufficient level of proof to justify conviction, but you can't necessarily take that as a proclamation the person on trial did not commit the crime. This is not the case with Jack McCullough. Jack McCullough positively did not murder Maria Ridolph. He couldn't have, just like he said in his interrogation. Why that is boils down to two facts.
To be fair, I did think the evidence was like lackluster. I was like, wait, how did they convict him? Because if he didn't admit it and they don't have the actual evidence, but he did basically admit to molesting his sisters. No, dude, no, death penalty, bro. Fuck that guy. He molested all his sisters, bro. Like I was thinking, like, well, how do you equally get him back for molesting his fucking sisters? Like, do you molest him back? Does that even work? I don't think it works. Because he would have never come forward. The cunt would have never come forward. He basically had got away with it, and he's old as fuck. It's not like he was coming forward to admit to that he did something bad. He was like, oh yeah, I did this shit, and then he's like, I'm gonna get away with this, and then fucking just live the rest of my life, dude. Like, how does that get balanced out? You know?
1. John Tessier placed a collect call from a post office in Rockford to Sycamore at 6:57 p.m. on December 3rd. 2. Maria Ridolph's abduction in Sycamore is firmly established to have taken place between 6:30 and 7 p.m.
That's why he was so hardcore.
Before breaking down why these facts...
He knew he had done some fucked up shit, but he just didn't do this thing, which is why he was so hardcore, like, I want to only do this, but nothing else. Only the, like, and he's like, that's why, like, all this other shit about, like, him literally being a fucking pedophile, like, he doesn't want to talk about that, like, because he obviously did a bunch of fucked up shit. He still deserves to be in jail, right? Absolutely. Like, that's still, the justice system's still functioning just fine now.
Facts categorically rule John Tessier out. Let's establish why they are facts, not just well-founded opinions. When the FBI initially investigated John Tessier, he mentioned the collect call when giving his alibi. The FBI did their due diligence in following up on this, and the resulting paperwork of that investigation is publicly available to this day. They spoke to the general manager of the Sycamore Ogle Telephone Company, who was able to confirm that a collect call was in fact placed by a John S. Tessier to the home of Ralph E. Tessier in Sycamore at 6:57 p.m., and the call was placed from the phone number 2-9297. That level of detail might seem a bit excessive, but you'll get why we're making note of it in a moment. Before that, though, a bit of an explainer on the time frame of Maria's
was it so
abduction,
weird?
because there is some contention around this, even though, as you'll hopefully agree very soon, there really shouldn't be. The FBI...
Wait, why was he so weird when he was talking about her? Why was he such a creepy dude? I mean, yeah, I get he's a pedophile, but, like, why was he acting so fucking weird? Like, he was talking about this whole... like,
established Maria's abduction as take...
Shut up. I'm pausing the video. I'm just going to pause the video just for no reason now, because this fucking bullshit, bro. I fucking hate hindsight Annies. Like, people who, after the fact, go on about how, like, it's obvious that this thing is this way, when the only reason they can do that is because they currently know, because of the fact that they know. And then, of course, they can make all these wild, speculative claims about something. After it's happened, it's like, yeah, well, no shit, bitch.
It allows you to exclusively look for guilty behavior.
I actually thought, like, man, am I being I was like, I'm kind of hindsight Andying right now. I thought that in my head. I actually thought I bet you someone's going to play a clip about me being a hindsight Andy, because I'm being a hindsight Andy, and then he's done it. I'm already 2 steps ahead, bro. I already knew you were going to do that, bitch. Okay? Because I knew I was actually being a little bit of a hindsight Andy, but it's like, being a tiny bit of a hindsight Andy right now. Which I think I even questioned it. Then they say, maybe I'm just being a bit of a hindsight Andy. I think I even considered that I was probably being
a bit of a hindsight Andy myself. Okay.
taking
I think I
place
said it.
between
Yeah.
6:45 and 7 p.m. That time
'Cause
frame
I'm
was
self-aware.
based off of multiple accounts from neighbors, as well as Maria's own family. Most importantly, her father Michael. Now granted, memory is malleable, especially in the midst of crisis, but not all memories are equal, and you can be a lot more confident in the time someone places a recent memory if they are basing that time off of a connection to something specific. Maria's brother, mother, and father all told the FBI that she came into the house to get her doll after 6:30. Her father, Michael, said he wasn't able to place the exact time because he was preoccupied by a television show he was watching, the Western series Cheyenne, which aired at 6:30. When Larry Cott was reinvestigating the case, he knew the FBI timeline, coupled with John Tessier's phone call, was a big problem. An insurmountable one, in fact. We can see this in the way he bent over backward to create a new timeline that could place Maria's abduction significantly earlier than 6:30, let alone 6:45. What Cott essentially did was write off all eyewitness accounts that placed Maria's abduction in the time frame the FBI established as wrong, and then combed through interviews to find anyone who could be read as placing it earlier. One account he found was from an oil delivery man named Tom Brady, who by his estimation saw the girls playing when he was making a delivery around 6:15 p.m. Cott cross-referenced this with a bus driver who drove past the corner where the girls were playing at about 6:30 p.m. and claimed to have not seen them. There's absolutely no reason to disbelieve the bus driver's account and the time he placed it, but it doesn't do much, if anything, to help move the timeline back, because the bus driver would have no reason to be keeping an eye out for two little girls playing on the street, so it's entirely plausible they were there, and he just didn't make note of them. That you would put more credence in the bus driver than Maria Ridolf's own family, coupled with several other neighbors, is inexplicable. Unless, of course, your only goal was to move the timeline to implicate McCullough. Larry Cott ultimately concluded Maria was abducted no later than 6:20 p.m. He also reasoned, just because McCullough could prove he placed a call from Rockford at 6:57 p.m. didn't mean he could prove from where within Rockford the call was placed. If he abducted Maria Ridolf on the street corner in Sycamore at 6:20 p.m., or even a little earlier, and placed the call from the outskirts of town in Rockford, he would have even more of a window to make the commute. This is another illustration of how much tunnel vision Larry Cott was operating under.
This is dumb as fuck.
Remember, it wasn't established as being merely a phone booth somewhere in Rockford. The manager at the phone company confirmed it as being from a specific number, 2-9297. And that specific number can be traced to the area in Rockford that John Tessier claimed he placed the call from at the time. With all of this in mind, let's take a look at the sort of commute we're talking about, and you should quickly get an idea of why investigators were trying to buy every minute they could to make this work.
Not this, but we don't know about that guy because he's inside watching TV shows. Like I'm thinking, like maybe there's someone who looks like him who's like. But I mean, because how come he became a pedophile? That's the question.
Here is a Google Maps route from the corner Maria was taken from to the outskirts of Rockford. So we're actually going with Larry Cott's hypothesis to start with, even though it's not credible. Now bear in mind, this is far from a precise picture of what the situation would have been in 1957. But all the differences you need to factor in add time to Tessier's best-case scenario commute. The roads were different. He would have been driving in snowy conditions and using a car from the 50s. But going with this modern projection that doesn't take any of those factors into account, Google's quickest route is still a 31-minute drive covering 24 miles. So even if you allow that Maria was taken at 6:20 p.m., which there really is no reason to,
possible.
And that John Tessier placed the call from the outskirts of town, which he didn't, and you don't take any of the variables we just mentioned into account, which you absolutely should, still, even then, the only way John Tessier's alibi doesn't still cover him in Larry Cott's scenario is that perhaps his abducting Maria Ridolf would not literally break the laws of time and space. He would have less than 10 minutes to spare from the time he ran off with Maria to arriving at the phone booth. A feat that, while maybe not literally impossible, is so far-fetched that it should be discounted by any
Well, I mean, just has her in the
reasonable
trunk, right, or something?
Then when you place Maria Ridolf's abduction where it actually was, and you put John Tessier in the actual area we know he was when he made that phone call, You still don't even need to take the roads, conditions, and car into account before you find the scenario is going that extra mile and breaking the laws of time and space. There is simply no way it could have happened. So you might now be wondering, how did Jack McCullough get convicted? The FBI files were ruled inadmissible. Yeah, ain't that a hoot? Kind of hard defending yourself when the key piece of evidence exonerating you is off the table. As you would imagine, there was an appeals process, and it resulted in the vacating of McCullough's conviction on April 15th.
It's like when you get banned off Twitch, they just ban you, bro, and then you can appeal after you're banned. It's like this is how NA does things. Okay, this is how NA companies and NA governments do things.
Of 2016, once the FBI files were taken into account. And a little less than a year after that, he was issued a certificate of innocence, categorically clearing his name in the eyes of the
But then fucking put him back in because he's a fucking pedo! Put him back in because he clearly molested. Hey, bro, what the fuck?
So, sorry for essentially lying to you for over 45 minutes, but it wasn't done to waste your time.
Okay.
It was to illustrate a point that's always worth keeping in mind whenever you open a newspaper or turn on the television.
You deliberately hid, like, all the facts and only showed a couple things. Okay, like, what the fuck? And then, wait, and you literally titled it, The Coldest Case Ever Solved. Okay, dude.
There's always more than one way to tell a story, and the way this story was told for most of the video's duration was very much in line with how it was being told by the mainstream press while everything was unfolding at the time. And it's not as if McCullough's recorded alibi wasn't known of during that period. He and his family were screaming about it to anyone who would listen. He even explicitly made the point about the phone call during part of the interrogation we deliberately fought through.
If I made a phone call from Rockford, which you've got...
I know right where it's at, yeah.
And at 7 o'clock, Sycamore is 30 miles away from Rockford.
But just like it didn't suit the investigator's case, nor did it suit the story most of the media wanted to tell. The coldest case ever solved is just a much more enticing headline.
Oh, so that's the title is not the title. The title's the title about other titles.
And you can make that first headline work, even without the facts on your side. So long as you're in charge of telling the story. It's a meta title. Just choose what to leave in, what to leave out.
No, he should still be put in jail till he's dead anyway. Like, literally. If he's a fucking pedophile. Like, if the cunt's a fucking pedophile. Like, are you kidding me? He's not. Who's saying he's a pedophile? Literally, he doesn't answer any... When they ask him, did you do anything fucking sexual to your sisters? He, like, literally does... Like, I don't want to answer that question. Why would I ask that? I'm not answering this question. Like, that maybe... When no, like, they're all saying he's a fucking pedophile. Like, are you kidding me, dude? Guilty of her. No, what's the things? Just you fell for the bait. That everyone else in chat saw coming. Oh, shut the fuck up. Oh, shut the fuck up. The point is, he should, like, assuming that this is legit. Okay. Assuming it's legit, he should be put on for being a fucking pedo, right? Straight up. That's what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen. Now, if they need to have some evidence, obviously they need to, but I'm sure they can get some evidence of getting molested repeatedly by the older brother, right? Let's be real.
Out what to emphasize and what to brush over. When given subjective behavioral cues, interpret them as uncharitably as possible. Whenever something comes up that looks good, pick as many holes in it as you can. Whenever something comes up that looks bad, leave it hanging. And to be clear, there are...
Like, holy shit, bro. How do you not recognize your own face? Oh, I don't know. Oh, who's that? I don't know, dude. Oh, who's that guy? I don't know who that is.
In this case, that really did look
how bad was
very
the photo?
Bad for Jack McCullough, matching Kathy Sigmund's physical description, her eventual positive identification of him, his history of sex abuse allegations, more than we even had time to get.
How do you get a history of sex abuse allegations without being a sex abuser, right? Like, how do you like, really? What kind of shit do you have to do to get people to call you a fucking pedophile? Like what kind of shit do you have to do? Like, really? Like for your own family to be calling you a fucking, like, multiple members of your own family calling you a pedophile. What do you have to do to get, like...
By the way, the mysteriously unused train ticket, the creepy piggyback
None of
ride
my family members are calling me a fucking misogynist, dumb fuck. Literally, none of them. Like really.
incident with Pamela Long, the strange disappearance of his adult daughter, though to be fair, there's no evidence linking him to that incident either, and his mother's deathbed confession, according to the account of his estranged sister who openly despises him. All of these things look bad.
What the fuck happened? No, it does. It seems terrible. It literally seems terrible. Are you sure that you haven't fucked up some of the evidence? Dude, this cunt's clearly a fucking pedophile. This cunt's clearly a fucking pedophile. Like,
terrible.
I'm coming, I am.
And this video isn't striving to argue that Jack McCullough is a really nice guy, but he did not kill Maria Ridolph. Because no amount of things that look bad can ever trump the cold, hard constraints of reality. And it's for that reason that, unfortunately, Maria Ridolph's story remains one.
He probably just killed his own daughter and it's a pedophile. But I mean, it's fine. It's one of these things. It's like, ultimately, that's it's just like whatever, dude. It is what it is. It is what it is.